It's technically, this video is for day 7, although I'm currently existing in day 8. Day 7 was really, really long and is technically still going. So we woke up in Groningen and had breakfast and headed out. Most of the ride was somewhat utilitarian. It was just through a lot of regular roads, not a whole lot of quaint little towns or amazing cows that we needed to stop and take pictures of. It was still pretty, but just not quite as magical as the previous days. There was a really neat single track part that was really fun, and we were having fun riding along. And then, oh boy, someone just came in. I'm in a laundromat, so I'm doing this in public. And then all of a sudden we got to a dirt road, which was kind of interesting, and then the dirt road got really rocky and terrible, and I'm a terrible mountain bike rider, and this was basically like mountain bike riding. I almost fell down many times, fishtailed a whole lot of times, and then all of a sudden, Matt got flat. So we got to walk our bikes for I don't know, it felt like 3 miles, it was probably like half a mile, and it was no more fun to walk on than it was to ride on. Matt got it changed, and we didn't let it ruin our day. And we continued on and got to Lear at about 3 o'clock. And normally we would then, start checking into our place of living and getting something to eat and starting all of that. But instead, we had no place to go because we were not staying in Lear. We just kind of ate and sat around a restaurant and used their Wi-Fi and just kind of bummed around and existed. Sat in the train station for a long time until 8:20 or 8:40, in which case we got on a train, and it was so much better than the trains in London. It was like they actually like people who have bikes, and so we got to be in the car with our bikes, and they were near us but hanging well, and we didn't have to hold them the whole time. And then once we took that train to Bremen, we got on another train. It was about a 20-minute layover. Got on another train to Hamburg. Got to Hamburg at what time did we get to Hamburg, Matt? 11 at night, 11:30. And Hamburg is huge. It's a giant train station, and it's overwhelming. And we had to then get a bus. We had 4 hours before we had to get our bus, so we felt pretty good. We can figure this out, except there's no thing talking about where the buses are, and we could not find the buses. We literally walked in circles for an hour and a half to 2 hours.
And of course, the information station was
all
closed.
The information things were closed. There was nobody that worked there. We ended up asking a guy who was sweeping the floor, who fortunately spoke English, and he directed us, but we didn't really understand at the time that the train or the bus station was across 2 blocks away from the train station. We were sold tickets to 2 trains and a bus, and they're all on Deutsche Bahn, so we figured they were all together somewhere, but we were wrong. So eventually we finally, and again, we held it together this whole time, which was amazing because we were so tired.
Police.
And Matt, so we thought we could find it based on what the guy who was sweeping the floor told us, but then we couldn't, and there was a police station right there. So Matt went and asked the police, and they were really, really kind and told us where it was. We went over there, and the problem was we were walking around this train station over and over, and the whole place is super sketchy. This is where all the people hang out and beg and drink and smoke, and it was just kind of terrible. And it was the middle of the night, and we had these expensive bikes and all of our stuff, and everybody was eyeing us, and it smelled terrible. And I'm sure Hamburg is a lovely place, but it did not get a good chance in our eyes because we only know the train station in the middle of the night, and it was terrible. But we got to the bus station, and then we had another 2 hour and a half wait before we had to do that, and there was no place to sit. Everybody was smoking, and so we basically stood there with our stuff. We couldn't walk away from our stuff, so we stood there. And finally the bus got there, and the bus was great. They put Matt's bike in with the standy bikes, and they put my bike sideways in a compartment. And all of our stuff fit on. We got on the bus, and we probably slept for about an hour. And then we came to the ferry, where the bus had to go on a ferry, which means everyone had to get off of the bus. So we woke up and got on the ferry, and that was about a 45-minute crossing. And then once we got back off the ferry, we managed to sleep for maybe another hour. got off of the bus and we were in Copenhagen. Welcome to Denmark. We are also exhausted because we've had about 2 hours sleep after riding and then sitting and all of that. So the first thing we decided to do after eating is do laundry. We can't check into our house until noon. That's when our host is going to meet us. And so it's 10:30 right now, so we've needed to do laundry really bad, and we have nothing better to do, and this allows us to stay with our bikes, which we've brought into the laundromat because we're terrible people. And this is the mystifying when you don't speak whatever language they speak here. Seriously, I'm so tired, you guys. So we're going to do laundry until we can check in the house, and then we will start our day in Copenhagen. Good night.